My beautiful friends, welcome back to rKarma. In another episode of r/malicious compliance stories, we have a dedicated employee whose loyalty to the company was shattered due to the actions of an incompetent manager. Let's listen to the story of most expensive tip ever.
Nearly 15 years ago, I went to work for a company. The intent was for me to complete a project in quality and then move over into program management, but someone quit and I was asked to fill in as a customer quality engineer. This meant that every month, I traveled to customer sites, did the first pass analysis of our defective products, and got yelled at a lot. It sucked. Also worth mentioning, our branch of the company was too small to use the corporate travel. So, for every trip I was scouring discount travel sites to find the cheapest flight, hotel, or car. I was ridiculously vigorous in seeking best prices. If the shittiest shitbox car was $32 per day and the not-so-shitty car was $34 per day, I picked the $32 per day car to save the company $2 per day. One fine trip, several months in, was spectacularly awful. Not only did I have a truly terrible car, but the hotel was also all new depths of yuck. My shoes stuck to the carpet in my room and the security flipper thing on the door was plastic. Also, it was in the worst part of town and I worried about my safety to the point that I ended up pulling the little couch over to block the door, and sleeping on it. Adding to my misery, I was sick. I had some creeping crud that plugged my sinuses and made me long for death. Normally, I'd have cancelled the trip, but the customer was in an uproar about our continued repeating defects and required someone to be there. I made this trek every month. And once during every trip, I would eat at the local Outback Steakhouse. It was a known quantity, the people who worked there were great, and it helped me to have that connection. On this particular trip, I made my way to the Outback for dinner and I was clearly sick and miserable. And the workers took care of me. They sat me next to the fireplace, brought me tea, and had the kitchen make me chicken noodle soup, even though it wasn't on the menu. I nearly cried, I was so grateful. My bill for dinner was less than $10, so I charged $20. Yes, more than a 100% tip, but their kindness kept me going. I got home, did my expense report, and turned it in. My director called me into his office and screamed at me about how the corporate policy was 10% tip, and it should never exceed 15%, and what was wrong with me for paying them so much. Remember, total bill including excessive a tip was $20. It broke me. Well, it shattered my loyalty to the company's bottom line. So, I made them give me the corporate travel policy where the tip policy was outlined, and from that moment on, I followed the corporate travel policy exactly. No more shitbox $32 per day cars, I'm in midsize or better. No more flying out at 4 a.m. in the center seat, the flights fit my schedule and I sat where I wanted. No more scary hotels in the worst part of town, now I'm staying at the nicest executive hotel allowed by the policy. The cost of my trips were pretty regularly double or triple what they had been, adding up to thousands of dollars a year, but I never disobeyed their allowable tip policy again. The true irony, their corporate tip policy actually had verbiage that said exceptional service could be recognized with an additional gratuity, but basically, don't make a habit of it. Also, the allowable per diem was $50 per day and a receipt was only required if over that amount, so the tip that started the whole thing was within per diem, allowable for exceptional service, and the receipt for it had not been necessary.
Oh boy. Did that company lose big time, all because of a tip, which was well deserved to begin with? Next, we have the story of a son whose malicious compliance story against his own mother is grabbing all the upvotes. Let's get to it then, no more Amazon Prime for mother.
My mother is the reason I frequent /raised by narcissists. This is a story about how her tendency to blame everyone else for her mistakes came back to bite her. We once had a family Amazon account, and were paying for Amazon Prime, which is £95 per year. One day, my parents took a look at one of their bank statements, and my mother threw a fit over the amount of money spent yearly on an Amazon Prime subscription. My father wasn't overly bothered because he makes decent money, and it was only £8 a month. But when my mother goes on the warpath, he tends to just let her go off rather than try to fight the explosion. My mother decided to cancel the Amazon Prime subscription, but I used Prime Video regularly, so I told her not to worry about it and just put the whole thing in my name. I'd pay the £95 a year and the whole family could keep benefiting from Prime. She liked that idea, so I changed the payment method to my card and carried on with life. I also set my card to the default payment method so I could use the Buy Now button to save myself some time. Anyway, fast forward a few months and I buy a book on Amazon for £7.99. I use the Buy Now button and carry on with my day until my mother comes home that evening ranting and raving about how I'm a thief and how I've stolen from her and how I'm a disgrace and how she didn't raise me to be such a disappointment. I ask her what the F she's talking about, and she shows me the charge, Amazon Marketplace, £7.99. I log on and check the Amazon account, and sure enough, the book I bought was charged to her card. I thought that didn't make sense, because I used the Buy Now button, which uses the default payment method, which I made sure was my card, because I know my mother very well. I started to get a hunch. I checked some details and sure enough, her card was set to the default payment method, and the previous purchase before my £7.99 book was new pillowcases, purchased by my mother. She'd obviously ticked the box that said make this card the default for future purchases, which had caused it to replace mine as the default payment method. She was still looming over my shoulder as I uncovered this, still grumbling about how she couldn't believe I stole from her. I didn't really enjoy being called a thief over her own mistake. So I decided enough was enough. I told her she was 100% right. This was an egregious crime and she was truly the victim. Someone had set her card to the default payment method, and in my idiocy, I had used the Buy Now button, foolishly believing that my card would still be the default card for the Amazon account I was paying for. But not to worry, to prevent this terrible situation from ever happening again, I'd be removing her card from my Amazon account. It was safer, I explained, for us all to have our own accounts. That way no one would be able to purchase anything with anyone else's cards, intentionally or otherwise. When she realized this would prevent her from using all the perks of Amazon Prime without paying for them, she was suddenly very apologetic and understanding, but I insisted that she was right, and that financial security was of the utmost importance. I took her card off the account and changed the password. In my family, victories against my mother are rare, and I cherish each one. This one is one of my favorites because every time she receives an Amazon package, I'm reminded of the look on her face when I took her off the account and she couldn't think of anything to say to get me to put her back on. A package came for her today, and it made me smile. If she wants Amazon Prime, she can pay the £95 per year herself.
Well, a victory is a victory, and the son scored this time. What do you guys think about these two stories of malicious compliance today? Do share your opinions in the comments below, so I can make more such videos. Also comment suggestions and stories you would like to see here on this channel. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe and share.